Considering it's March Madness, there is no more proper time to shit on referees, which is what we're going to be doing today as we change the word referee. And I'm going to be lighting into referees in general here. Doesn't mean that all referees are bad. In fact, I was a referee for about 6 years of my life for basketball, and they are not all bad. An extremely high proportion of them are bad. I really think that they are. And that's not to say what they do is easy. I mean, in some ways it is, in some ways it isn't. You really don't need a whole lot of prerequisites to become a referee. You are legitimately just calling what you see. There's not a whole lot that you need to know. Scan through the rulebook once. If you have any prior knowledge of the sport, you're probably going to be doing just fine. And you're not doing this on your own. You got other people, other officials helping you out too. The actual actions of refereeing is not all that complicated and not all that difficult. Actually being correct all the time, that's an entirely different case. That is very challenging. You have to make split-second decisions, get yourself in the right position to see exactly what's going on, and even if you do just about everything right, you're not going to be able to get everything right. So to be a perfect referee, it's impossible. You're never going to be absolutely right. But you don't really have to be a great referee, because everyone's going to see things incorrectly from time to time or not have the correct call on something. But so many referees continue to make other mistakes that detract from the game. And the biggest problem is involving themselves and feeling like they have to make their impact or justify their own existence. There's so many refs that feel like uncomfortable if they go a while without calling something or impacting the game in some way. So then they eventually kind of insert themselves or feel like they have to make calls. When realistically, when you have those long periods with no whistles, as long as it's justified, you feel great about what's going on. The best compliment you can get is that you didn't notice the officiating, and that's almost never the case. So that's one of the things that can be pretty frustrating broadly about referees, is it seems like they can be kind of insecure. And a lot of times they also try to be maybe too machine-like, where they're going to call every single small, minute violation that isn't always impactful on the game or necessary to be called. And when they are, sometimes they can just disrupt the flow of the game and just kind of frustrate legitimately everyone involved, instead of letting the game progress as it naturally should in a justified manner. They don't view their calls in the context of the game and how they will affect the flow of the match, as well as they start to kind of predict what they're going to have to call. There's so many times where they'll see a wind-up like in basketball and they're blowing their whistle before any contact is even made. This is absolutely the wrong way to be officiating. Sure, from reffing a lot, you'll start to see these patterns of when violations can occur. However, you have to see those happen before you're blowing a whistle, because it's way harder to back up on a whistle than to just call one late. And sure, people don't like late whistles, but they're way better than incorrect whistles. So if they would err more on the side of taking another half second to process a little bit what they've seen and make sure there was a violation before they blow things dead, that's also a massive improvement that can be made that a lot of refs just never seem to do. Refereeing just seems awful all the way through, just systemically. And basketball is one of the sports where it's going to be way harder to ever automate anything like that, because there is a lot of subjectivity in the game. And it's one that's kind of always going to need a lot of human element to its officiating, so it's just really tough. But honestly, watching like the first couple rounds of March Madness was infuriating to me. Just so hard to watch. I didn't even make like bets or a bracket, and it was just painful to watch the officiating. And it was like probably the worst I'd ever seen it in the tournament, and it was just so hard to watch. So yeah, refs are brutal. Let's finally get to what they're going to be called from now on, which combines most of the things we've talked about. The word is insecure rhymes, and insecure rhymes has a lot going on. So we've got insecure is how we started it, because that's what a lot of officials are. However, we decided to put suck in the middle instead of secure, because it's an even suckier version of being insecure, and we're taking the C out of there because all you need is the K. So insuck is the start, followed by you are, and I kind of wanted it to have like a machine-like ending. However, instead of going with an INE to end, I did IME, because I thought it was very appropriate to have me being in the word, because a lot of officials make it about themselves and have a larger effect on the game than they should. So we have an ME at the end instead of an NE for insuck your rhymes. And of course, people like to have ref as a short for referee. You can probably just refer to them as sucks for short for this. And don't worry, they're used to it. I'm sure basically every ref has been called worse. That is the tough part of the job, where you really have to have some good people skills, a little bit of tough skin, because you are going to get berated no matter what level of reffing you're doing. You're going to get it from players, coaches, fans, parents, doesn't matter. That is definitely the challenging side of being a ref, and it's not easy from that perspective, but they just fall short way too much for me to give them really much slack at all. Alright, let's move on to our comment of the day. Comment of the day comes from K-Whip, and he simply said, "Gotta be real stubborn to not convert to stubbo," which was the word change for yesterday. K-Whip didn't do anything a whole lot complex in this one, maybe because he was writing this comment while recording a video, potentially, I don't know. So certainly not his best work, and nothing too complicated, as the word change itself wasn't all that complicated either. Just gonna give this a 40 out of 80. Then for the song of the day is In the Hills by Jaden. I don't think I've done a Jaden song for song of the day yet. This song builds a little bit, has some nice cool dynamic changes throughout the song, but is very kind of sweet and upbeat for the most part, and then it gets really cool and kind of like the breakdown part a little bit. Doing the same old thing, chain smoking down memory lane. And I like this Jaden song. Then for video of the day, the video of the day shows us some refs being very insecure, but to another level, because this is a Kroll show clip with Nick Kroll and Jordan Peele. It's a Ref Jeff clip, which I absolutely love this character from this show. When he's first introduced, he's supposed to be like an NBA referee, and now he's all the way down to like collegiate women's Division III basketball or something.
What's the story with the on-campus restaurant? Is it a list situation? They take money? Is it points? Use points?
And his life just gets more and more pathetic through every appearance he has, and this one's quite great. As well as there's a lot of very quotable moments from this video. And if you watch this video, trust me, it's gonna pay off in dividends.
That's gonna pay off in dividends.